It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
And we want to talk about what are the financial concepts you can learn from some of these key scenes.
And so the very first one we're going to bring up, if obviously we are dressed in costume, it only makes sense. The first clip we bring up would be a Spider-Man clip. Maybe you guys remember this if you are a Spider-Man fan. And Brian, you were telling me a little bit about the quote we're about to share. It was something, it turned out to be a bigger thing than I think we recognized at the beginning, right? Like it kind of was riddled all throughout the universe. Yeah.
Well, this is one of those origin quotes that even if you go outside of the movies, this comes back to the comic book series. You can even find full-on blog posts about this quote and then how often this is showing up within the Spider-Man franchise or brand. So this is powerful. I love because we went way back. We went all the way back to 2002.
All right, here we go.
But just because you can beat him up doesn't give you the right to. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
So did y'all hear it? The quote was, with great power comes great responsibility. This is the 2002 when Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man and Uncle Ben is giving the advice. But here's the thing. This is not only when it comes to superhero life. This is also your financial life. So many things. The more success, the more wealth, the more resources you have, guess what? More weight falls on your own shoulders.
Well, I think it's really interesting. We all sit around and we daydream about being wealthy and having resources and having financial independence and having a higher income. And we always think about the pros of it. We always think about the benefits and the good things. Very rarely do we think, oh, wow, with that quote unquote power, there is additional responsibility that comes in the financial realm associated with that.
You just pulled the whole mo money, mo problems
That's
type
exactly
quote.
right.
So,
Yep.
but here's the thing I think is interesting. A lot of people know we give the guidance. You can count your employer match on the 25% contributions you're making if your household income is under $200,000. And people are like, why? Why did you choose that number? We wanted to show you kind of, once again, we're doing origin stuff with Spider-Man franchise. Why not show you the origin or research on why we talk about savings rates and employer based upon income? It all ties back to Social Security showing, like, if the more money you make, the less you're attached to the social safety net of the government.
Yeah, so what this shows, if you're out there in podcast world or listening out on iTunes or Spotify, it shows at different income levels how much Social Security will replace of your income when you get to retirement. Well, as you can imagine, as your income increases, as the numbers get bigger, Social Security replaces a smaller and smaller percentage. So what that means is you are on hook for the rest. So if you're someone who has a higher income, and with that higher income, you have become accustomed to a higher lifestyle, nothing necessarily wrong with that, the responsibility for being able to replace that lifestyle is going to fall more on your shoulders than someone trying to replace a lower income lifestyle in retirement.
And it doesn't just stop with retirement. Think about this. The higher you go on your success factor of making more money, it's going to be harder to replace that job or that income stream if it dried up on you. So it goes beyond to even include emergency reserves.
Sure.
Instead of having that low 3 months, maybe you need to be closer to 6 months and even beyond, even a full year if you're self-employed or an entrepreneur. Remember, really do respect with power comes great responsibility, and it even goes beyond the emergency reserves.
Yeah, so even if you're somewhat, maybe you've reached an income level where now one of the members of the household can stay at home. Well, now there's an additional burden that not only are you saving for your retirement, now you have to save for the retirement and well-being and obligations of the other members of your household, whether that be a spouse or children. So there's a chance you might need larger life insurance, more protection in place there. There's a chance that you might need more disability insurance if something were to happen and you were no longer able to work. You might need more income coming in to be able to make sure that your family can still count on something to be able to pay the bills and keep the lights on.
But let's talk about the financial mutants, because there's a lot. We just did a tour yesterday. I got so excited. Went home, told the wife, I was like, we did a tour today and brought his sons up. And he had started listening in 2006.
Yep,
And
one of the OGs.
really powerful about that is that he had found us just a few months, like I think he said 6 months after graduating college, getting in his career, started listening to our content. And now he's like super successful. I mean, I'm talking 7-figure successful. And it is one of those things, and that's the abundance cycle fulfilled in the fact that you come, learn, grow, apply this. You will reach a level of success. You will be a financial mutant to the point that you start recognizing, hey, as I've built up these 7 figures of I'm the CEO of this now big financial entity, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what my blind spots are. When I lose 10% on $1 million, that's $100,000 versus when I lose 10% on $50,000, that's $5,000. There's a huge difference between those things. Instead of it being a month's worth of income, now we could be talking about years worth of savings that I've lost out on. We talk about all the time. It's good to recognize that maybe you need to take the relationship to the next level and have a co-pilot with you as well.
Yeah, because at higher asset levels, there are other things that you might need to think about, like a more robust estate plan. You know, maybe you're not worried about estate taxes per se. You're not over those thresholds, but maybe you're worried about, man, if I have kids that are 16, 17, 18, early 20s, are they in a position where they're going to be able to inherit this wealth well? Or maybe from an investment standpoint, you've been following our advice and you've been using target retirement funds and they've done a great job to you up until now, but your tax situation has become more complicated. You have different types of accounts and you can benefit from asset location. As your assets get larger, as your portfolio gets bigger, you have to start thinking about all of these things. Again, with that power comes additional responsibility to figure out how to navigate it well.